Okay, let's be fashionably early. So about a minute early. Hello everybody on YouTube. This is a live stream flight specifically for you. Now typically live stream flights you'll have other people flying, which maybe we'll have a couple with us. Not sure if we have yet, but maybe. By the way, I'm at Carlisle Airport, runway 24. Runway 24, it's Carlisle Airport, so the code for Carlisle is EGNC on North Europe server. Whilst I talk about the route I'm going to take, you feel free to join me. I'm in a Cessna 172, anything with a similar speed would be good. Okay, so the route we're taking, let me just switch you to little nav map. Now, well, as you can see, I don't actually have a route set up, and this is typically how I like to fly. I'm doing this live stream because I'm testing out for a future live stream, hopefully in a couple of weeks or so. We'll see how things go with the crew, and you'll have sufficient notice and a route, that type of thing. But I'm just testing things out, so I'm taking off from Carlisle. I'm heading west. I'm going to do a touch and go at Kirkbride, I believe it is, airport, which is runway 28 there, which will be in our general direction. Going to fly over to, let's see if I can pronounce this one, Falgunzion airfield there. Which is a funny... oh, okay, the map's just reset on me. It's a funny airfield because the runway is not... doesn't really look like a runway. Runway 234 there. Doesn't, as you'll see, it doesn't look like a runway at all. And there's a hill right in front of the airfield. So it's an interesting approach, that one. I'm looking forward to that. Then I'll go on to VOR, just to brush up on my VOR skills. Set my nav 1 for VOR. Let's just see which one it is. Let's click on it. There we go. It's Turnberry, TRN. So I'll be flying towards that. Once I get near to that, I'll just put my compass to 03 degrees or 30 degrees to go and land at Prestwick Airport. So as you can see, I don't specifically have a route set up, but I know what I'm doing. And I just find it more enjoyable this way. And then we'll fly over to Glasgow to really show off the scenery in Orbx North, EU North rather. Does look spectacular in parts. Live weather, we'll see how that goes. Switch you back to the flight sim. So that's the plan for the live stream, and it is just for you. Now, am I live? I seem to be. I seem to have a good number of people watching as well. That's good. Yeah, I can see a person on the runway. So like I said, this is more specifically for you, my YouTube viewers. Especially for you. I'm not going to start singing, but that's what I'm doing here. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to press B on my keyboard. Yeah, my altimeter wasn't set correct, so we're about 180 feet off ground level, above sea level here at the airport, Carlisle. Just going to set my autopilot to 1400 feet. And I'm actually using, because I'm in a different location, hopefully the internet's better. Well, I know the internet's better in this location, so you should get a good stream, especially in comparison to my last live stream. You should get a good stream here. Basically, I couldn't bring my velocity one, so I'm using my Raptor Mach 2, but I've set up buttons for heading mode. So basically, I've got a couple of buttons. Keep an eye on that blue marker there. So by pressing buttons, I can move my heading round quite easily and put it into heading mode, which is useful for this flight. So anybody following me, once you see me take off, I'm going to release my parking brake now and take off. So the stream is a little bit delayed, so you'll probably see me leaving in front of you. Just follow on and stay on the general direction of the runway once you take off. Let's just see, we'll get off to takeoff speed here, which we're coming up to now. That's fine. Ooh, there we go. Trim up a little bit. Much prefer my yoke, but the Mach 2 Holtas will do fine for this flight. And autopilot and heading mode engaged. Just going to make sure that autopilot's going to keep climbing, so vertical speed nose up if you need to a little bit. So I'm in heading mode. I'm roughly on a heading of 237. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to make sure that you've got the stream. You have. I'm going to look at my little nav map. And it gives you an accurate representation of where you're going. We're not far from Kirkbride Airfield at all, and that will be a touch-and-go landing. So I do have airport markers on. You can see the airfield just ahead of me here. In fact, let's pop outside. So it's just there. And the scenery here is all courtesy of Orbx EU North. It's quite different from the default, I find. It's a little bit more populated. Just looks a little bit better, in my opinion. That's good. Looks good. Thank you, Tobias. And H, hi. How you doing? Like I said, this stream is specifically for you, so I'm going to be chatting to you, YouTubers. It was actually when I first did a live stream, actual live stream. It was a flight from Southend into London, and I just did it for the viewers. I didn't have anybody chatting to me. So I thought, I enjoy that, and I thought, let's treat you again and do that. I enjoy it as well. Okay, so the airport's straight ahead of me, so the runway 28 will be pretty much bang on. We've got 11 nautical miles to go before we get to that runway, that airfield. There's a few people on. It's like a couple of people following me, I believe. Yep, see a few people there. I believe a couple of people are with me. And anybody's welcome to join at any point in this flight. Just go to North Europe server over Carlisle way. And you should see me flying, just spawn on top of me. Just don't make me crash, please. Coming over a little town, flying over a little town here, you can see how much more populated it is. Now, it's not as good as EU Central, in my opinion, EU North. I can't wait for EU South. But it still looks pretty good. It really sort of neatens up and populates these little areas a little bit, makes them look a little bit fuller, a little bit richer. In many ways, lots of people flying. Fine weather, this is live weather. But look, you can see. Looks absolutely lovely, and this is just a small town near Carlisle, unless it is Carlisle. Maybe it's Carlisle we're flying over. Not fully sure on that. Doesn't matter. Anyway, there's our first port of call ahead of us. I've got it in heading mode, so I'm just using my buttons on my HOTAS to move my heading bug around a little bit. Am I using the right buttons? I wasn't. There we go, that explains it. Hopefully I didn't press anything I wasn't meant to on my HOTAS. Looks okay though. Let's throttle back a little bit. What are we? 8 nautical miles out. Evening, Rosson. I hope you're doing okay. And oh, Gunnar, how are you doing? Great to see you. So there you go, 8 nautical miles out. And chaps, this is me testing for a future live stream. I've got to do hunting for Nessie at some point, hopefully in a couple of weeks. So a live stream with you chaps will be coming. I just wanted to do something for the YouTube viewers. It really is something I enjoy myself, so why not? 8 nautical miles out, I can start to slow down a wee bit. We're a bit far out to start worrying about. 5 nautical miles out is when you start to lower your speed. Looks lovely, doesn't it? Lovely, lovely. It's nice to fly off the beaten track. There's Chunzi behind me, I can see you. Nice to fly off the beaten track in an area that I don't normally fly in, and just take off and just use little nav map to find my way around. Don't set a route. Love it. It's my preferable way to fly recently. Just take off and use whatever tools are available to me to find my way. As you'll see, it works okay. There we go, we're getting some way towards it. Oh, it's 6 nautical miles, still not to worry about slowing down quite yet. 5 nautical miles is more than enough for 22 RPM, 2200 RPM at the moment, just over 100 knots. Looking okay. Just check behind me. quite a few people flying. Generally, you'll find quite a few people flying in these areas, which is nice. Bit of company. There we go. What are we? 6 nautical miles, 5 nautical miles. Okay, we might as well start to slow that down a little bit further, maybe to 2,000 RPM. About 1,900 RPM in the Cessna 172, as a lot of you probably know, is enough to get you to stage 1 flap speed. We're getting down now. If you can hear a bit of swissing, I've got to have the fan on. I'm in the centre of London, and we're having a mini heat wave. Apparently we're going to get up to around 40 degrees by Monday, which is it's just awful in a place like London. It's just not the place to have 40 degrees at all. And I've had a bit of a cold the past few days, which hasn't helped. It's not COVID, it is just a cold. I've tested myself. But yeah, that cold, my nose has been congested. If you can hear me feeling a bit congested still, I'm coming out of it now. That's the reason. But I believe I sound a lot better than I did, thankfully. Okay, anyway, enough of that. So, touch and go at this runway. Now, 4 nautical miles out, so the runway is just there. So let's just get to flaps 1 now. We're at about the right speed for that. Take it off autopilot and guide it towards that runway. Now, I've noticed since recent updates, especially the last update, the Cessna 172 feels a bit floaty. I don't know if anybody else has that feeling, just keeping an eye on the runway there. Just feels a little bit floaty, so I'm having to deploy trim, which I wouldn't normally do. I'll just lower my throttle to get me down on the runway sometimes. In that sense, it's a little bit easier with a HOTAS, because, you know, you can push a HOTAS forward a bit easier than you can a yoke, if you need to get down that little bit quicker. But it's not ideal. I mean, you should be lowering your throttle to descend, and it doesn't always descend the way it used to now. Floats a little bit more. Let me know your thoughts on that, chaps. Have you found the same? Good evening, Disco Dave. It's a good old VFR flight, absolutely. Yeah, it is a little bit like crap now, Alan. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Ooh. What am I doing? Wasn't concentrating there. Good start. Nothing unusual for me, don't worry. Well, let's just get back towards that runway. There we go. Not a problem. Not a problem. So I'll stick it into stage 2 flaps now. Okay. I mean, the flare's normal, but the floating business is not. It really should start descending. That okay, now it's starting to descend, so let's just throttle up a little bit better. A little bit more, rather. I just find it very floaty now, the Cessna 172. It's similar to X-Plane 11, in fact. I find that quite floaty as well. And people are saying that's realistic to the real thing, so maybe it is realistic. It just feels different. Guess we just got to get used to it. Let's see what the next sim update brings. Hopefully the SIP functionality for the Velocity one for Xbox. That's what a lot of people are waiting for. Me too. It'll be nice to have it on the Xbox as well. So touch and go here and just maintain. I'll put my heading bug in my general direction now. Just maintain the direction when you lift back off again. So there we go. Just keep an eye on what I'm doing here. It is descending better now. Famous last words. There's Steve coming down. Chumsy. Oh, there we go. Not too bad. Not too bad. Bit of a low approach, but easily rectified with a HOTAS in my hand. There we go. Oh, wind's blowing a little bit. The only thing, I don't have my rudder pedals with me. In London, in fact, I don't have them. Using rudder on a HOTAS is never ideal. It's doable, but not ideal. Right, there you go. Anyway, I'm over the runway. Let's just slow down. There we go. Touchdown. And take back off again. Just raise one stage of flaps there. I don't need stage 2 flaps to take off again. Ooh, rudder's not ideal on this Mach 2 either. I've got to adjust that, but never mind, we're back up. Raise my flaps. Autopilot, and it's in heading mode already. That's good. And it's raising to 1,400 feet. That's great. So next port of call. Just catch up on chat. What's the airport code? It was... Oh, let me just say... If you could just spawn on top of me, old gunner, that would be better. But the airport code there... Bear with me. Getting to a little nav map. I'm going to pass it by before I tell you. Airport code there... Oh, no. Come on, click. Bear with me. Was EGWT. EGWT, I believe. Yeah. Kirkbride Airfield. So let me just switch you over to little nav map for a moment. Oh, let me just make sure my aircraft's behaving. That's always a good idea. Yep, it is. Switch you over to little nav map. Now, little nav map. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to fly in a westerly direction. I'm going to move my heading bug slightly. I can do this while I'm in little nav map. Just so I'm flying more in this direction a little bit, because I want to line up with this airfield. Airfield runway 34, which doesn't look like an airfield at all, as you'll see. Want to line up with that, so when I get to around here, where I'm aiming for, so I'm just... You can't see this in the sim, but I'm using my heading bug buttons just to move my heading bug. There you go, the plane's turning for me. When I get to around here, I'm going to line up with that runway, basically. So let's get back in the sim. For anybody who is flying, I'm on a heading of 231 at the moment, and that may change slightly. In fact, I'm going to change it, sorry. I'm going to bring it to 240. 240. Let me just zoom in my poor eyes. There we go, 236. Playing on a laptop screen, so you're going to have to bear with me. I really am mobile at the moment. And do I have my flaps up? Yep, good. Heading off 240 at the moment. That should give us a nice approach to our next runway, our next airfield. There we go, a couple of people behind me there, that's good. Look, wonderful. It's not only populated EU Orbx North with buildings, it kind of neatens up the whole look of the place, the fields and surrounding areas. I think it just looks a lot better. A lot better. And what a lovely day to fly. That's live weather over Scotland now, or going into Scotland, would you believe? Well, the very north of England, anyway. Yeah. Roughly that area, you know what I mean. Lovely weather. Okay, so I'm just going to keep an eye. Let's just see. Hello from Vancouver. Hello, Tom. Sorry, how are you doing? Sound like crap. Do I sound like... Oh, okay, you're joking, Alan. Sorry, I misread that before. I always sound like crap, so there's no change there. Looking at my little nav map. Oh, let's bring you over. I've got to be careful how many times I do that with a little nav map, because it could crash the whole thing. There I am at the moment. So when I get to around here, I'll start to turn on a probably 340 degrees to line up with that runway. And we're heading towards, chaps, for those who are following me, Falgumzium glider airfield, which is EGGY, runway 34 there. So as you can see, we're getting some way towards it. That's the last time I want to switch you over for now with a little nav map, because like I said, doing it too many times when I'm streaming could cause issues. Great. Tango Theo there, yeah. Another name I recognise. Steve Chunzi. And anybody else I recognise there? I'm not sure, possibly, as we fly on. We'll see. It's a bit of a short notice with this live stream. Like I said, it's a bit of testing. The actual flight I'll do for the main live stream might be a little bit different, but we'll see. What? The map itself, it's a little nav map, DC. Yeah, little nav map. So yeah, things may change slightly. Let me just keep an eye on that map. That was a good call. I need to start turning to 340 degrees soon. And of course, those flying with me, my stream's delayed by a few seconds, so by the time I'm turning, you'll hear me talking saying I'm going to turn, if you know what I mean. So just keep an eye on that. Just keep an eye on my aircraft when I'm turning. But I'll be heading towards 340 degrees. Got it in heading mode, so it's easier to do. Any second. Just looking at my little nav map. Hopefully I've got you in the flight. I do. So any second I'll start to turn. Fantastic time to fly. Look at that. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. I'll tell you what. Let's do it. I know that's about the right time. I can always adjust if necessary. So 340 degrees now, chaps. So I'm using my heading bug to get my heading bug round to 340. And I'm doing all this from my Mach 2 HOTAS. Quite a simple... I mean, it's got quite a few buttons, to be fair. But a fairly simple HOTAS system. But still doable to set things like heading bug and autopilot functions like that. Which make your life easier. I've come too far now. I wasn't quite lined up, so I'm going to adjust that heading to 330. Now, let's just scroll in. Well, 329. See what that does to me. And I'm going to have to go for 320. Turned a little bit too soon, but never mind. The airport marker. I've got airport markers on. So that airport marker you can see ahead of us is our next, this will be a full stop landing, and that's, let's just remind myself, Balgumzium. Lovely name. Balgumzium Airfield. And it's a bit bizarre, there's a hill before it. It should be at 1,400 feet, hopefully, which will make it just over those hills. After the hills, there's a thin white line that looks more like a dirt track, and that's your landing strip. So just be aware. There we go. Let's pop outside again. Ooh, who's that? Tango Theo, great to see you. Steve behind me. Perfect. Like I say, for those joining us late, this is just kind of like me testing stuff out. I live stream chat with my viewers, which I enjoy doing from time to time. It was my first ever type of live stream I did. It was just me flying and chatting to YouTube. I'll do a full live stream where I'll give you enough notice, like a week or two notice, a week at least, and give you a route and goodness knows what. This is just me testing stuff out and chatting to my YouTube viewers. So don't worry, we will be revisiting something similar. How far we got to go? 9 nautical miles, that's okay. Plenty of time. Few other flights going on around us, which is good. Yep, that's great. And lovely, and when we start to get over more towns and sort of major parts, especially Glasgow, you will see that, you know, this is where the Orbx EU North really comes into its own. A lot more added features, just fills out the area, makes this part of, well, makes the whole of Scotland look really sensational, in my opinion. Let's pop back into the cockpit. 7 nautical miles, yep. Get to around 5, that's when I'll start to slow down. Heading in the right direction. To 317 degrees at the moment. Am I bearing? Coming nicely into it. If I'm zooming in and out a lot, it's because I'm playing on a laptop screen. I couldn't bring my monitor with me. I travel between two houses here in London. This is a rest house, which thankfully has the better internet, but it means I've got to leave a lot of my equipment behind in the other house. That's okay. Right, 5 nautical miles. Get a... Oh, I'll tell you what. Why not? Rev down a little bit at least, so let's rev down to 2,300 RPM. There we go, it'll just slow us down with the ultimate aim of getting down to 19. Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't give us a lot of time. I'm going to rev down to... Rev down... throttle down. I'm not riding a motorbike. To 2,100. There we go. You're probably used to me and my terminology these days. Anyway, doesn't it look lovely? Absolutely stunning. Hope the connections... Well, I know the connection's better here. I hope it's coming through as nice as I can see it. It's beautiful. And the weather's perfect. Absolutely perfect. There we go. So just over that hill, it's just an unfortunate place to put a hill, that you'll see a white strip, which is the runway. So it's a bit of a nasty approach in that respect, especially the first time I did it. Tango, Theo, you've got the right idea there, going a bit higher. I guess I just like to live on the edge a little bit. But you should see it just before we pass over the hill, which will just make up 1,400. You should see the runway. Stunning, absolutely stunning. Oh, lovely formation flying there, right next to me. Lovely, I think that's you, Steve, isn't it? Lovely, look at that. Touching wings almost. That is... Ooh. Probably putting you off now, so I'll get back to my cockpit. Anyway, let's rev down. Come on, James. Yeah, come on, James, let's get... Oh, I'm at 1900. I can go to stage 1 flaps. There we go. Sorry, Steve, I've just messed up your formation there a little bit, because I am a little bit delayed on YouTube. That's why Steve's shooting ahead of me there, because he's just realised, so well... Yep. No, that's Tango. That's Tango Theo, that's good. Sorry, Steve, it wasn't you. Right. So there we go. We're nice and slow. Yeah, just below 1900 RPM. Speed below 80, which is good. Stage 1 flaps, and the runway will just be ahead of us. This is a full stop, guys. You'll see it just before we get over this hill. Trust me, it is there. If you're a bit higher, you'll be able to see it. But I've done this a number of times, I know it's there. Unless it's being scrubbed out. Look at that. Gorgeous. And it's something I enjoy. I just like flying off the beaten track, flying over places I don't normally fly, so away from London, where I'm typically always flying, even though I like flying around London. It's nice to have that change. Okay, now I'm being blown by thermals a little bit there. That's why the nose of my aircraft's being blown up. There's the runway there. Right there. So I can take it off autopilot because I don't like the way that's behaving. Slowing my speed, so throttling down. I'm just actually using my HOTAS as well just to get the profile of my nose down a little bit. I'm going to have to trim a little bit too. Don't like to, but with the recent changes to the Cessna, it's become very floaty. There we go. So I can just about see the runway ahead of me here. Going to go to stage 2 flaps. Watch the flare, so I'll just hold my nose forward a little bit just to compensate. Make sure I make it over these hills, which, yeah, just about. I don't want to slow down anymore though, because I'll be crashing all the thermals. All the thermals. Because not too bad. As you can see, a bit of a nasty approach from that altitude, but makes it a little bit more exciting. And the thermals are pushing me up at the moment. So that white strip is the runway. Sort of long white strip. I don't know if you can see it. It's not obvious. Yeah, I can see Steve. You're overflying. Oh, are you landing? Thought you were flying over it to get a recce. It looks like you're landing. Great. Well done. And little nav map helps. I'll show you that in a moment. In fact, little nav map shows it as a runway because it has a land on it. Hopefully, you should see. Yeah, I mean that was a lot of floatiness in the Cessna there, so I really had to compensate. Let's just take the flaps up while I'll come off the runway as well. Oh, Steve, yeah, you had to go back up. It's a tricky one, isn't it? That is your runway, believe it or not. So I'll just come off the runway there, just clear it out for you chaps. And we can do a bit of recce. Right, flaps up please. Might have to deploy flaps to get off the runway again later, but it's quite a long runway. There's Tango. Hopefully we'll see Steve coming in soon, too. Picked the wrong day, oh no. Hi, Parrot, how you doing? Good to see you. Beth, how you doing? What's happening, Organa, with your Xbox? Steve coming in, let's see. No pressure, Steve. Yeah, it looks a good approach. This is a runway. Trust me. Doesn't look like one at all, which is why I picked it. And this has to be in the flight, doesn't it? Oh, you're going to crash into me. Ouch, ouch. Yep, stop, Steve. There we go. And Tango's doing a much more sensible, slow... Oh, look at that. What a landing. Lovely, Tango. Lovely, lovely. Okay, chaps, I'm going to pause here for a second just so if you want to join us, you're more than welcome to. We're at Falgumzian Airfield, and it's EGGY. I might have said that wrong before. EGGY. Falgumzian Airfield, North Europe server. So, yeah, feel free if you want to join in the fun. What we're going to do, going to jump back in the cockpit. No, actually, I'm going to take you to little nav map. There we go. Northwest of just in Scotland. Great, that's great to hear, Rosin. Yeah. Crashing when using the... Oh no, the F-32. That's not good. F-35 is that? That's not so good. Don't you have a PC now, Old Gunner? I thought that might be the more preferable way to play, but... Anyway, we're in little nav map. What we're going to do on this part of the flight, like I said, I've got no route. That's the route we've taken so far, but I'm just doing this using the tools available to us. We're going to set our nav 1. Now, if you don't know how to do this, I'll be showing you in a second, to 117.5, 117.5 for the Brooks, I think it's Turnberry. TRNVOR. Flying towards that. Once we get towards that, I'll be just heading in a direction of 03 degrees or 30 degrees to land at Prestwick Airport there. Yeah, Prestwick Airport there. But first thing we're going to do is set our VOR nav 1 to 117.05 to head towards Turnberry. So let's get back in the sim. There we go. Come down to my left G1000. So 117, I can just use the knobs here. We're not going to do much VOR flying in this flight. Just one, well, just the one. Maybe two. 117.05 or 117.5. Make it active. Turnberry TRN should come up there, and it has. So we know that's correct. Switch our CDI display to effectively VOR 1 or nav 1. Nothing's going to show yet because we're on the ground. So all is good there. I think I'm going to turn back and just give myself a bit of a lead off this runway. Chaps, if you're following me, I advise the same thing because this tree's just ahead of the runway. So if you're trying to take off, you might easily crash into them. Steve, you've gone... I don't know where you're going. You've gone sightseeing somewhere, that's fine. Okay, go on, I need a bit more of a tighter turn than that. I don't want to get into all that scrub land. There we go, it's better. So just getting... Oh, by the way, you saw on a little nav map there, that was actually an airfield. I'll show you that when I'm back on the runway again. I'm in the scrubland now, so I'm just going to have to throttle way up to get my Cessna out of that. That's why I didn't want to get into it. Just go a little bit further along. As much runway as you can give yourself here for takeoff. Come on, what's going on? Bear with me, chaps. There we go. For those joining us late, this is me testing for a future live stream, perhaps in a couple of weeks' time, where we'll all be chatting and flying. So I'm just doing a bit of flying, that type of thing, testing areas out and routes out. Even though I've got one in mind for this live stream, which I shared at the beginning. It'll probably be slightly different on the day, but this is specifically for the YouTube viewers, which I enjoy doing, as I've mentioned. There we go, that's enough runway. So if you want to come and join me down this end, Steve and Tango, I would advise it, because there's trees right at the end of that runway. Just checking something. No clue where we are. Yeah, we're still at Fulgumzion airfield. Let's pronounce that correctly, I believe I did. Oh, by the way, I said I'll prove it, that is a runway. Fulgumzion airfield. Bear with me, little nav map, just switch you to it quickly, that's where I am. So that is actually, that white strip is actually an airfield, so there you go. Doesn't look like one, but it is. Okay, you're going to take off from there, are you? That's fine. Oh, by the way, another thing we should do, we've got our autopilot altitude at 1400. You can see we're at 600, over 600 feet above sea level here. I would now advise sticking your autopilot altitude to 1800 to begin with. And we'll have to climb a bit higher because there's going to be a few hills and mountains ahead of us. Are you chaps heading this way? Looks like it. That's good. Your trim seems already off. That's not great. Oh, not great. That's okay. A lot of this flight's going to be... Also, I can see you there. Yeah, I can see you just behind the trees there. That's okay. Got Tango heading towards me and Steve's heading towards me as well, I think. That's great. Like I said, because I'm not live chatting with you chaps at the moment, the stream's delaying my speech. But we've got plenty of time. It's early on a Friday night. Probably get some wine in a moment and enjoy myself, so you'll hear me slurring even more. I've not got wine at the moment, I've just got orange juice, but that's okay. Yeah, don't worry about the trim. Honestly, we're going to be using autopilot a heck of a lot here. Did you chaps get, I hope you did, that VOR that we've just set, nav1, 117.5, and make it active? You should have TRN come up and switch your CDI button to VOR1, and we can tune into that when we get up in the air. Really enjoyable. This is something I do when I'm not streaming. I'll set off from somewhere, see what VORs are around, what airports are around, use a little nav map. Don't plan a route, just fly and then, you know, use all the tools available to you. It's a lovely way. It's like seat of your pants flying in some ways. Yeah, I gotta say PC is the preferable way. You don't get as many issues. Although I don't have many with the Velocity 1, I'll put it out there. Don't have too many with the Velocity 1 on the Xbox. There we go. Where do I have you, chaps? I have you there. Okay, chaps, we're going to throttle up because we don't want to be here for the next 10 minutes. move my heading bug in my general direction. It's in that general direction anyway. We'll take off from here. I'm back on autopilot and climb to 1800 feet this time to begin with. There we go, that should be fine. Plenty of runways. It's a long route. Look at that beautiful sights around us. Absolutely stunning. If you've not flown in this part of the world, you're missing out big time. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, autopilot on. Heading mode engaged. Don't want to climb too vigorously, so let's hope that, yeah, it's climbing at a sensible pace. If not, I shall intervene. 600 feet per minute. Let's just make sure that's 600 feet per minute. Yeah, because I don't want that speed to go down too much more. That's fine. So yeah, we're back in heading mode. No, I'm not. I'm not in heading mode, so I'll switch that back on. Now I'm in heading mode. Now we VOR. Yeah, we're gonna follow the VOR. So basically, I'm going to use the CDI knob. It's on the left G1000, a triangular looking knob. It won't move your compass, it will move your VOR1 symbology. So keep turning it to the left in this case, because you've got both arrows pointing upwards, so we're heading towards that VOR. Keep turning that triangular knob left, and the lines should join together, giving us a course we should lock onto to get to the center of it. So there you go. In heading mode, I'm just moving my heading knob to that big arrow, and once we get there, we should be heading directly for that Turnberry VOR. It's just an easier way to follow VORs, basically. So there's a tip for you. I know a couple of my Discord users do actually do that generally anyway. Okay, we've got a few people behind us now. That's great. Is that ready? I think it is. That's brilliant. Okay. So for an ad hoc flight, this is fantastic. But again, lovely scenery. You cannot beat that scenery. Interestingly, the Pelican live stream we did recently, I was asking people, even some of the chaps who were from America on the live stream, whether they flew in America, and most of them were saying no, they fly in Europe mainly, or England. And with the recent updates, the US looks great, but in such a small space, England and Scotland and Wales and Ireland, you get so much packed in, and even France, Germany, Italy, so much packed into those small spaces. It looks sensational to fly over. Every few miles you get an incredible sight. And let's face it, the US and Australia and places are massive, so sometimes you have to fly over barren land, which I can understand. Let me know your thoughts, chaps who are watching YouTube. Where do you prefer to fly? It's quite an interesting subject. There we go, I got a few people flying with us now. Back into the cockpit. We're heading straight towards that VOR. All lines are conjoined. Showed you this in a recent video, PFD options, and this came from one of our VOR live streams. I think that was Ines who mentioned it. Bearing 1, and it gives us our distance to the VOR, which is 37.5 nautical miles. Not bad. Not bad. There's a couple of things we need to do in this flight before we reach that. As you can see, the ground raising. I'm at 1800 feet, but that ground is raising, rather. So the elevation of the ground is raising before our eyes, and we're going to have to adjust our altitude to get over those hills in the distance there for sure. That'll be before the VOR. There we go, that's great. Do a bit of an external view so you can get those lovely views. Perfect weather, live weather, perfect weather for flying. That ground is definitely rising sharply. There's more people here. Yeah, it's quite, because it's quite a smaller area, I believe. Gonna, yeah. Yeah, I prefer yokes myself. I don't mind the Mach 2. It's a lovely sort of electromagnetic sensors inside it. Lovely thing to fly. It's just not comparable to a yoke. But I understand you there. I much prefer a yoke myself. Oh, sorry. You're flying with a controller, not you typically fly with a Holta. Sorry. Yes, I miss. As normal, there I've got YouTube chat in a small window next to my OBS live stream. So let me just rectify that. Nope. It's gone up to where I can't see it now. Ah, bear with me, chaps. In the background there, I'm just doing something in OBS. Rectifying the YouTube chat screen. Is that better? It would do probably stretch it out a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, so using a controller, not your Holtas. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, the ground's rising below us, chaps, where I am. You're a bit delayed. I do hope you realise this, that you are delayed. The stream's a bit delayed from our actual flights if you're flying with me. I'm going to raise our altitude to 2400. You've got time, so by the time you hear this, you'll have time to adjust it. Vertical speed nose up just to get it to 400 feet per minute in the climb. That'll take us to 2400 feet. Look at that. I hope the stream's coming through as good as I can see that. Or good, anyway. Saying it's excellent on my part. Or a good connection anyway. It's absolutely stunning now. Leave it there so we can meditate on that beautiful view. There we go, just checking the side. Climbing up to 2400, that's fine. Oh, wow. Stream's all good, great to hear, Alan, thank you. Stunning, you've got to try, I mean, yeah, you know what you're doing, you chaps fly in more exotic areas than I do generally. Typically I'm flying around London for testing, so when it comes to doing these streams off the beaten track, places we don't normally fly, lovely. Especially over Scotland, I find there's so much variety around there. Nope, what button did I just press? I've just deployed my flaps. Oh, never mind. Ignore me, still getting used to the Holtas. Where are we? That's what I wanted to look at. 29 nautical miles. Let's just switch lots of time before we get there. Let's just switch it to little nav map. I can show you what we're going to do here. What's that? Why is that up? So there we are at the moment. This is what's good about little nav map for PC Flight Simulator 2020 or Microsoft Flight Simulator. Gives you an accurate representation of where your aircraft is exactly as you're flying. Heading straight towards, let's zoom out, straight towards that VOR, because we've set our VOR up. We've used the CDI knob to set it directly. So we're flying straight towards the centre of this VOR. Once we get there, or just before there, I'm going to turn the aircraft to 30 degrees to line up with Prestwick runway 03, or runway 3 at Prestwick. So that's the idea. When we get to around here, we'll line up and land here, then head off to Glasgow, which is not far there. That's when we'll end the stream. But we've got plenty of time. The day's early on Friday night. No rush. It's what I'll be doing anyway. I'll be flying around testing things out, so it's good to have everybody along with me. See me again, that's great. You see us again now, Gunner? That's great. Just gonna make sure you are there. Yeah, Steve. Tango, you guys are doing great, I've got to say. Got 2 professionals on my tails there. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, there's Ogana. You're to our right at the moment. So you're flying with a different group. If you look to your left, that's where we are. There's myself, there's Chanzi, and there's Tango Theo. And possibly somebody else. I do apologise if you are flying along and I'm not seeing you. But these 2 chaps have been with me, well, since the start, really, so that's great. So yeah, just to your left, Ogana, there. Mountains ahead of us. Yeah, to get over those mountains, might as well do it now. 2700 is just enough. If you don't feel brave enough, put it to 28. But I'm going to go on 27 and then see how it takes us. There we go. Vertical speed nose up, just 400 feet per minute should be fine. Look at that. Stunning. This is definitely better with EU North. Undoubtedly. Try them both, default and Orbx EU North. It just looks a lot better. Maybe it's a placebo thing with me. It's incredible. Yeah, it's great. It's great to fly in a group. It's definitely fun to fly. I always enjoy having company and things. It's why I generally fly, recording or not, in live multiplayer, just because I like to have that realism of people around, really. Nobody answered my question in YouTube, though. Where do you prefer to fly in the world? Europe, America, Australia? Where's your preference? Mine's definitely Europe. I just think it packs in more in a square mile, or 10 square miles, or whatever. 100 square miles, shall we say, than other places, generally. But then I need to go more off the beaten track. I mean, Japan looks pretty stunning from what I've flown, from the areas I've flown. Australia can look fantastic as well. The live stream we did in Australia, the places there we flew over looked incredible. That's Tipbird. Sorry, Alan. I didn't see you. Now I see you. So Tipbird's with us as well. That's great. So Tipbird there. One of our original founders in the Discord. One of our very first people who joined the Discord. Now one of the moderators there. It's great to see you there, Alan. Hope you're keeping well. This is great. All I'm missing now is a nice glass of wine, but I shall endeavour in a moment. So, 2,700 feet should just clear... famous last bloody words. Should just clear the tip of this mountain coming up. Don't rely on my estimation of that, chaps. If you're flying with me, to be safe, 2,800 will clear it. I just like to make things a little bit close. Just spawned. Great. Oh, yeah, that's you, Alan, is it? Sorry. Didn't realise that was you, Alan. Your Tipbird. Yeah. Great. Nice for you to join us. Absolutely. Oh, we're looking... one of those daredevil moments again. Do I just skim? This is the highest peak in this area. We're getting to Glasgow. Yeah, it's going to get more hillier as the further north we go. And the idea is for me to create a flight route, not in this flight, but eventually around Loch Ness, which is just beyond Fort Augusta airfield. to hunt for Nessie, which they hinted has been added. You can see those thermals blowing me. If they blow me down whilst I'm flying over, I'm just gonna miss the tip of that mountain. So if that thermal blows me, I've had it basically. So yeah, I'll keep it there. I don't like the look of it. And I'm just skimming the top of that one. Sheesh. I might just sorry chaps, I'm just going to use my heading bug to turn me to the left, because there's as you can see it drops away slightly. If you're following me, you're going to hear this late, so good luck. There we go, and we'll make the top of that tip there, just about. Oh, see that thermal blue, that would have blown me into the mountain, so it was a good call. Let's get back to my VOR. I want to make sure I'm following that VOR, so I'm just going to move my heading bug using my HOTAS. Just center back on that VOR. We are now... Why is that not... Okay, because I am down. We are now 16 nautical miles just over out from that VOR. There we go. Once you've cleared those tips, we need to descend, because Prestwick Airfield, or airport, is 56 feet above sea level, and we're currently 2,700 feet, so we'll have to descend when it's safe to do so. Hello, LaShark, how you doing? Great to see you. Great to hear from you. It's just a small hill, it really was, but flying over it at that altitude was hair-raising, or can be. Always fun. Okay, I'm going to bring myself down to, let's just start lowering our altitude now, because we can, 2,400. Vertical speed, don't do this if you're not over those hills. 2,400 to begin with. Get down to ultimately 1,500 to land at Prestwick. Once we reach the VOR just before it, like I mentioned before, Turnberry, just before we reach that VOR, I'm going to turn to a heading of 03, or 30 degrees rather. I'm doing well, thanks LaShark. Yeah, doing well. I had a bit of a cold, not COVID again. It was just a bit of a cold. I'm just recovering today. In fact, my nose is a lot clearer. My throat's a bit croaky, but nothing too bad. It's just the heat here is oppressive. So if you can hear something swissing, that's my fan. Yeah, we're supposed to be getting it from Sunday, 35 to 40 degrees in London, and I've got to work in the centre of London. Yikes. I should stay ill for a bit longer, shouldn't I, really? Maybe. That's going to be, yeah, I mean, good luck, I guess. Anywhere else, 40 degrees is fine. I was in Budapest, it was 42 degrees when I was over there, it's fine. London, it hits 35 to 40, it's just... ugh. Difficult to explain if you've not experienced it, but not pleasant. Not pleasant. Okay, gonna lower myself down to 2,000. 2,200. 2,200. Ah, you know, Bolton, you're a bit cooler up there. I've got a friend near there as well. Yeah, it's a bit cooler up there, but it's still oppressive. But yeah, I kind of knew when I'm volunteering in London for a few months, coming towards the end of it now. But I kind of knew that I'd be hitting these kind of heat, temperatures, and well, you just have to go put up with it. Basically, I'm getting used to it kind of now, but. Awful to have a cold in that. It's not hay fever, it's not cold, but it was a cold. I was streaming the other day. Not streaming as in streaming like this, streaming out my nose, sorry to be a bit crude. And it was awful, you know, 30 degrees outside, and it was just irritable. Not nice. Back on a flight, sorry chaps. 10 nautical miles out. Gonna look at little nav map. Let me switch you over. Little nav map. So, once we reach, let's just see, about this point here, just before we reach the centre, maybe a 1 nautical mile out, I'm going to put our heading to 30 degrees to line up with Prestwick Airport. So I'll be keeping an eye on little nav maps so you don't have to. And we'll be descending. Stunning. Sorry, distracted. Look at that. We'll be descending. Oh, someone's flying. Just wonderful formation, chaps. Flying that. Wonderful. We'll be descending ultimately to 1,500 feet as well. Oh, yeah, a few people. Like I said, don't be alarmed. This is sort of a tiny sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not much notice with this live stream, and I'll be doing a proper live stream where we're all chatting together in a week or two in this area. I'm just testing things out at the moment, in effect. Oh, got a lovely, lovely flying. Show off. Right. 7 nautical miles. Grubbing behind me. Yo, yeah, I can imagine New York would be, that gets some very oppressive summers as well. It's not good, no. It's not good. We're already getting warnings about water shortages here, and it's only been a few weeks of heat. So that's going to be fun. We're probably going to get this for the next week or so. Get your fans out, guys. Next year I'm definitely getting some kind of air conditioning, because I've been in the south for a number of years and it always gets to this kind of temperature. Even if it's just a couple of months, it's enough for air conditioning. One of those box air conditioning things you can get for a few £100. Concentration. We're coming up on that BOR 6 nautical miles out. So remember, once we get there, I'm going to put our heading bug to 30 degrees just by using the buttons on my HOTAS. But if you need to use your knob, had to slip it in there. So if you need to use a heading knob, you can do that from there. This is before I started drinking as well. There we are. So there we go. I've got my eyes on a little nav map. That's the airfield, by the way. We're in external view. I've got points of interest on for the airfields. That's the Prestwick Airfield points of interest, or just to our right there. So I can actually look at that, and I can decide when to turn. In fact, if I go internal, it could be easier. Once I start to see that out in this window here, I'm going to start to turn to 30 degrees. So I'll keep an eye there. Bring your altitude down, chaps, to 1,500 when you can. There you go. I can start to see that point of interest with the airport in my right window. So down I go. And using my buttons, I can take it off BOR. I can put it back to GPS now. Go back. CDI. Back to GPS. 30 degrees. And I can adjust that heading bug if necessary. There we go. Might need to adjust it. Want to line up correctly. Yeah, I'm going a bit too far, so maybe back to 20 degrees or so. I'm just adjusting my heading bug. Gonna bring my altitude down as well. I was doing a few things at once here, but that's okay. 1,500 should be fine. Get that going in case I forget. There we go. Down to 1,500 feet. Bringing my heading bug around just to get that airport back into my center of my current view, cockpit view, and maybe just slightly to the right of it, just so I'm lined up properly. Now the airfield itself, that's the point of interest for the airport. The airfield's around this part, so actually I could be lined up around right there. I could check that with little nav map. Yeah, seem to be lined up with the actual runway 3 at Prestwick. Should be okay. As I'm descending, I can throttle back. Now needs to be at 2600. Back to 2400. Yeah, I can imagine it is very nice. I used to live on a coast. I mean, I normally live on a coast, so I've usually got a sea breeze, but still can get pretty oppressive on the south coast as well, I've noticed. Ten nautical miles out, no need to worry, no need to panic. I'm coming down to my 1500 feet altitude, as you can see there. Throttle back a little bit. Let's throttle back a little bit more. Oh, actually, no. Did I say 10 nautical miles? I'm way out yet. Let's not worry about throttling back. Back up to 2200 for now. 2300 even. There we go. Yeah, so the airfield is actually to the right here of that point of interest, so just keep an eye on that. It's trips me up a couple of times. I hope you all are doing well. It's not nice, this weather we're having anywhere in the world at the moment. I think it's was it Pakistan getting record-breaking heat waves. There's a runway just here. So you know what I can do here? If I bring it off autopilot, I could have used no, back on autopilot, use my heading mode. That'd be better, then I can concentrate on getting flaps under autopilot. That's the runway just there. So chaps following me, you're gonna hear this a little bit late, but I'm on a heading off. Let's see, 38, say 40 degrees to line up with the runway. Gonna bring my altitude speed down. Near flaps 1 speed, that would do. Now I could take it off autopilot because I can see the runway right ahead of me there, I believe. And it does kind of sneak up on you, I've got to say. Just be aware. If I've got the right thing. I've not got the right bloody runway, have I? Okay. Bear with me. Thought it was. That was my mistake. My eyes are tricking me again. I'll keep it off autopilot because I know the runways. It's kind of to the right of the town there. So maybe it's just there. Well, I knew it was somewhere. There we go. Not to worry yet. How are we doing with our speed? Trim up. Keep that altitude. About 1,000 feet. Always catches me out, this one, for some reason. And the wind's blowing me. There we go. I believe that's a runway there, isn't it? Soon find out. Yeah, it's just to the right of the sound, so if you're flying into Prestwick, I hope. Bear with me, chaps. If you're following me, I do apologise. I've made a pig's ear of this one. That's not the runway, is it? Where's this bloody runway? I know it's in this area. Ah, dear. Okay. Bear with me a second. Bring that down to... There we are. Put that back up. This would have to happen. I've lost this runway. I did this before and it caught me out and I've lost it again. Cannot see that bloody runway for the life of me. Okay. Do bear with me, chops. It's exactly why I test these things out. It doesn't help that I'm using a small laptop. I'm making excuses now, but it really doesn't help I'm using a very small laptop screen. Ah, where is it? Someone lead me in. I must see it. I've just lost it. Lost that runway. Ah, it's terrible. Okay. Guess there's two ways to skin a cat here. Heading over to the points of interest marker there for the runway doesn't really help. Unless it's just to the right... Oh, okay. I think it's just to the right of... Yeah. Okay. Like I said, there's two ways to skin a cat. I'm just going to fly towards the marker. And the runway should slowly appear before us. Come a bit low now. What's my little nav map? That's another way of doing it. Yeah, heading straight towards it, apparently. Heading straight towards the runway, it's saying. So, let's keep it there. I should have relied on a little nav map a little bit more there, and I didn't do. So, my mistake. Wee bit low there. Let's just speed up a little bit. I'm gonna hope you've got a recce on this runway. Still don't see the bloody thing. Ah, there it is. Oh, there we are. We found it. Difficult runway to spot that. Not an easy one to spot. But even when you spot something like... Why is it flaring up when I'm slowing down? It shouldn't do that. Even when you spot a runway late, easy to rectify, especially when you've got your hands on a HOTAS. Very easy to rectify. There we go, we can fly in there. Nice landing there, Organa. There we go. So all's good. All's good. Oh, a wee bit fast on the landing there, but we made it. And just come off to my left there. There we go, get outside. Did everybody else land? I think a couple of people are still up in the air, so we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, I can see... Can I see anybody? Everybody landed. Maybe I'm the last to land there. Oh no, I can see Tango Theo there. Alan. Yeah, sorry if you were following me. It wasn't really advised for that part, I just... Yeah. We're on North Europe, Russen. North Europe. So all came good in the end. Thanks, old gunner. I followed you in there and spotted that. Well, I kind of looked at little nav map a little bit too, so that helped. And it was runway 3, whichever way you can get down here, chaps, don't worry about it. If you're on the other opposite direction, just coming that direction. Yeah, try not to play on a laptop screen. It's doable depending on your eyesight, but having massive difficulties spotting where things were there. Are you chaps okay? You seem to be flying around. Yeah. Runway 3, chaps, at Prestwick. Or whichever runway you want to. There's runway 12, runway 30, runway 21. Take your pick there. You've all landed that way, which is fine. I think Alan's down there. There's Rossen. That's great, I can see you. Steve, did you... Are you there? So I don't know what's going on there. Well, listen, chaps, we're going to carry on anyway. Russell's coming in. Yeah, we'll watch Russell land, and then we'll carry on. We'll just take off from runway 3 and head towards Glasgow, simply using little nav map as a general direction. Head towards there, fly around Glasgow town. We've been about an hour so far, haven't we? So we're not doing too bad time-wise. An hour and 15 minutes. We'll fly around Glasgow. You can see Orbx EU North in all its glory. Then we can just line up with one of the runways at Glasgow Airport and land. There we go, there's Russell coming in, looking very nice, very smooth, very nice. Much better than my approach, I've got to say. Lovely. Ah, that's someone else, that's great. Okay, chaps, so what we're going to do is take off from runway 3 again and head towards Glasgow. I've got it on my little nav map. Now, follow me at your own detriment there. But I should be able to find my way to Glasgow at least using a little nav map. So I'm just going to go straight up, full throttle, runway 3 here and take straight off again. There we go. And the stream's a little bit delayed, so by the time you hear this, I'm just taking off. Got our autopilot altitude, well, I've got mine set to 1,000 at the moment. Just make sure that I'm still climbing there before I look at autopilot. It's better. Got it set to 1,000, so let's put it to 1,300, should do. And we'll adjust that. This is a bit unknown now. I'm not sure of the elevation of Glasgow and the mountains and the areas around it, so it's one way to find out, and we'll adjust as we go along. Select to autopilot, and it's in heading mode already, so I'll just turn my heading mode a little bit to my current direction. And I'll look back at little nav map. See which direction I'm heading. I want to head, yeah, roughly heading in the right direction. I want to head more northward. So I can get it going true north now. Now, what's my altitude doing there? Dangerous. Dangerous, dangerous. It was about to crash me into the ground there, which wasn't good, so I've just had to intervene. Now I'm climbing again. So gonna head true north, straight. So basically, just put your heading bug on north or head straight up north. 0 degrees or 360. There we go. Absolutely wonderful images. Lovely area. Scenery. That's what I'm looking for. Lovely scenery around here again. So this will be partly due to Orbx EU North now. They've added some points of interest, so there'll be basically some added buildings in there. They've tidied up a few areas as well. It's absolutely glorious, even in that sort of rural little part there. As we're going into Glasgow, it's going to get more and more built up, and you should see some stunning scenery around this part especially. Yeah, I just saw your land, Russell, so you came right next to me. Ace is actually just designed my livery organist, so you can have a chat with him. You just got in from work, I saw you streaming. Yeah, hi, Wombleway, how you doing? Sorry, yeah, it's just an ad hoc ad hoc stream. I wanted to do a stream for YouTube specifically, just while I'm testing things out. Good to see you. Yeah, heading straight towards Glasgow. If you just take a northerly direction from that runway. Maybe come back into the cockpit here and change that to about 5 degrees, I reckon. Just using my heading bug again, just changing it to 5 degrees on the compass. So we're heading just sort of just off-centre to north there, to the right. Not quite northeast, but I'm sure you know what I mean. There you are, Steve. Now I see you. Got you. That's great. I hope I've not lost anybody. Okay, there's people above me. That's great. Yeah, you still are with me. That's great. And one more way, other people who are just joining at the moment, what I'm doing, I'm just pretty much doing what I did originally. I'm just doing a sort of live stream for YouTube. I enjoy doing these type of things, but I will do a proper event where we'll all be chatting and flying over roughly this part. I've got to do a course roughly in this direction, heading towards Loch Ness to find Nessie, which I've been meaning to do for a while, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so. So we're heading towards now Glasgow. I've got a point of interest up for Glasgow Airport. So pretty much Glasgow downtown as well. Yeah, we do see you there, Russell. Can sometimes happen with these servers. People do disappear. Give you some of those views. Look at that. Wonderful. And even though I'm playing on a tiny laptop screen, the HDR on this laptop really does this proud. Beautiful. Look at that. I need to record something like this to put as my splash screen for live streams, you know. Make it a little bit more professional. I'll get around to that. Beautiful formation flying. Look. Old Gunner, you are a pro. You keep saying that you can't trim, but it's looking pretty good to me there. Now it's just gone off. And Steve, yep, lovely as well. Oh, what aircraft? Ah, you're flying sort of biplane. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Look at that, look at that. Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. Look at the area, guys. Look at the scenery around here. You guys are bloody posers, I tell you. Look at you. So let's just see, flying. Yeah, we're flying towards Glasgow. So we'll fly around a little bit, show you more of this. Look at it. Incredible scenery pack. Especially for the price. I think it's available for the Xbox as well now, isn't it? EU North, Orbx. Oh, thanks Mark. Thanks for dropping in. Smart from Simhanger, you're probably all reading that as well. Lovely weather. Wind, yeah, it's a bit blowy in parts, but that's what you've got to expect in Scotland. Okay, one more. Yeah, I'll try and make it Saturday or Sunday the flights. I might just do these types of flights on Fridays just for the stream, just for the shits and giggles, as they say. Test my skills out as well, especially when I can't see airports. Test my eyesight out for sure. It's a horrible feeling, isn't it, when you can't see even with glasses. Sometimes you're struggling to see. Not a nice feeling. Anyway, I have had a cold, so I'll make that my excuse. Stunning area. I can see this scenery though. Absolutely lovely. Oh, look at that. Weird. As you probably noticed, I don't have AccuSeason installed on my laptop Microsoft Flight Simulator, so this is just default trees. I've got to try the AccuSeason to see how that looks as well, because that can look stunning in different locations. But weather-wise, clouds and trees and goodness knows what, there's a few strange locations for trees, shall we say, as that's always been the case. But generally, they do look pretty fantastic by default. It's coming along, isn't it? Like some trees and weather. Weather especially, I've got to do a video on that soon. Can look incredible, the default weather sometimes. So I'm not using Rex much at the moment. No need to, in fact, I find. In most cases. Okay, how are we doing altitude-wise? I think we're okay for the moment, are we? Any high hills and we're done for, but we should be okay. Just about making all hang on a second. Don't quite trust that, chaps. I'm gonna go up for my own peace of mind to 1600. It's autopilot altitude 1600. Looks a little bit safer. Just move my heading round, so I'm just generally just dabbing my heading bug buttons just to head towards Glasgow Airport, because just beyond that is the city of Glasgow and goodness knows what, or around that. Yeah, here's Marcus showing off again, you know. He's in a biplane doing bloody somersaults at the moment. Where are you, Steve? There you are. And even old Gunner's doing his old acrobatic things beside me. But you can see how topsy-turvy the wind's blowing that aircraft next to me. It really is. There you are. Oh, look at that. Lovely flying, old Gunner. Lovely. So there we go. Coming into the city of Glasgow. We'll do a quick fly around here, chaps, and then fly back towards Glasgow Airport and land. But enjoy yourself around here, especially if you've got this Orbx EU North installed. Look at it. Look at it. Lovely. Really is, Dave, yep. Doing his acrobatics and goodness knows what. Beautiful. Look at that. I'm going to be sidetracked for a moment, chaps, because this always blows me away. So there's the airport. That's the runway. We'll probably come fly around the city and land back at... Let me just get my... runway 23 at Glasgow. Oh, what a way to end. Look at that. Yeah, Central, EU Central is lovely. I'm really waiting for the South. You know, that's where I've been living for the past 20 years. Or more now, and yeah, it's just I would just love to see that Orbx South, see what they can do with that. Look at that. Just using my heading bud to turn to the right, bank to the right there. Ah, my goodness, my goodness. And the frame rate, I don't know how it's coming across on the stream, but the frame rate's bang on. No issues with frame rates there, even though there's a lot more buildings than default. Yeah, you could probably hear the swishing on my microphone. I've had to move the fan closer to me because I'm about to melt to the chair otherwise. Yeah, absolutely, Dave. Me too. What did you just retract there, Mark? Stunning. So, yeah, fully recommended on Xbox and PC, EU North, but just something different. Go and explore the different cities and look at it. It's not just added building. I think people forget that. They say, oh yeah, it's just added a couple of buildings. It's not. It's added, it's tidied up areas. I've done a video on this, default versus the pack itself. It's definitely tidied up things and added new features with the package. Made it look more authentic, shall we say, the city. Sorry chaps, I'm not catching your acrobatics behind me there, but sure you're enjoying this as well if you've got that pack installed. Lovely. You did crash before, yeah, absolutely. Oh, there you go, even things like football grounds in the right places. Who's that? That's Old Gunner, I think. Football grounds in the right places there. Ah, stunning, stunning, stunning. So I'm just going to fly around the outskirts of the city here, head this way, back towards the river the other way. So turn back towards the other way and head back towards the airport to land at runway 23, chaps. Hopefully. I'll just use my heading knob there. Get a recce on my... So I want to head back towards the west when I come back, basically. A recce on my current heading, I was about to say. Lovely, lovely, look at that. Okay, I mean, a lot of it is still default, that it's in there by default, but they've tidied up, it's difficult to explain, but they've tidied up squares and areas, and generally the whole look of the city, really. And in many places in Scotland, not just this. Another football ground. Is that Rangers? Celtic? Don't shoot me, I don't know my football. It's one of them, isn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from that subject, I think. Yeah, so I want to head back towards, let's just see, 31. 31? Is that 30? Anyway, just beyond the west there. It's fine. Okay, let's try this. There we go. So just 180-degree turn using the heading bug. Don't want to turn it all the way because the plane might start turning the other way if I'm not careful there. Gonna confuse the poor thing. There we go. So we're about that marker there. So 30, heading back towards, heading off 300 now, chaps. I like how I say that with authority when I have no idea what I'm bloody doing, but there we go. And back towards Glasgow Airport. Ooh, look at that view, look at it. Look at it. Oh, my goodness me. Ah. See if people are still there with me. Yep, great. Just heading back towards runway 23, chaps. So once we start to approach Glasgow, maybe a few nautical miles out. Where are we? Get back in the cockpit, I can see that better. 6 nautical miles out at the moment, so plenty of time. Oh, what a view. What a view. Tell you what I'm going to do, just for my own sake, is slow down. It's about 2200 there. Just because I'm taking in the views outside, I'm going to overshoot the airport if I'm not careful. Ah. See all now, that's great to hear. Oh, I've not seen the two houses at Fleetwood. I've not I've not noticed Lashak. I'll check that out. Probably pass by it because I fly over that area. I've flown over that area a few times. But maybe I wasn't looking specifically for the lighthouse. It's brilliant. Yeah, they've added a lot here that people are blown away with too. I'm not knowledgeable in this part of the world basically, even though I've visited Scotland quite a few times, Glasgow and Edinburgh and other places. I'm not very knowledgeable on it in terms of features, aside from the obvious, the castles and goodness knows what. Right, 1900 RPM. Glasgow is just to the left of me, so just land when you want to, chaps. That's a nice fly on that. Go to flap stage 1. Take it off autopilot. And let's hope we don't get too many floaty encounters this time when coming into land. I do hope they fix that within the next... Oops, yep. Slightly off that runway, aren't I? I do hope they fix this in the next sim update, where it just feels... I mean, to be fair, X-Plane feels a bit floaty to me coming from Flight Simulator. So maybe, like I said, that's just the way Cessnas feel, But I think if you descend, you would imagine your nose descending a little bit better, rather than rising in some situations. When you pull your throttle back, you can find yourself rising, which is a bit bizarre, really. Don't know if other people have had that, but I've certainly had it. There we go, that's a runway there to our left. So I'll just do a sort of a base turn on it, I guess. There we go, I've got it in my view to my left, so no problems here. Now it's descending. Okay, now it's descending. Now it's behaving. Maybe it's just the thermals in this part, but I've had that in London as well, where I'm trying to descend and it just floats basically, even when pulling the throttle back. Sure, you know what I mean. I can't be alone in that. Okay, what's my speed doing there? I don't want to slow down too much. Just bring my revs up a little bit. There we go. Chunsy's coming into land. Oh, I've missed you this time, Chunsy. Steve. Alan Tipford there. Come on to my final approach for the airport here. Runway. Okay, that's fine. Got it in view. No worries at all. What's about stage 1 flap? Stage 2. That's fine. Now, okay, I'm pulling my throttle back here. I mean, eventually, yeah, maybe it's realistic, I don't know. But any small adjustments to that throttle, so if I put it forward a tiny bit, starts to go, look, I'm pulling it back and it's rising again now. Something not quite right with the dynamics there, flight dynamics, in my opinion. I mean, even X-Plane's not as bad as that, to be fair. X-Plane is generally very good, actually, very realistic. But this just feels suddenly awfully floaty, the Cessna 172, with the new dynamics, thermals they've added. Rosson's coming in ahead of me there. It's great, looks like I'm going to be the last one down. Who knew? Maybe not. Try and land short, just in case. Yeah, old gunner's down. Steve's down. I didn't catch you, Steve. That's a shame. Rosson's down. Maybe there's 1 or 2 people yet to land. There we go. So I'll just land right at the threshold of the runway. Shouldn't do on this part, but I'm just doing it to get down. And there we go. And come off. Oh, yeah, that's the whole task rudder. It's not me being wild. It's a little bit jerky, but never mind. some manipulating to do on that. I'll just pass these aircraft. Oh, looks like someone's tipped forward, maybe. Maybe not. I think that's everybody down, is it? Let's raise the flaps. So how's that, chaps? That was just a bit of a... Ah, there you go. I missed the last person coming down. That was just a bit of a fly around, a bit of testing, bit of chat with the YouTube channel rather than you lovely chaps. I will do. Hopefully, within a couple of weeks, I'll get this live stream sorted out where... And hopefully I'll be in the same location where I've got good internet, where we can do a proper flight hunting for Nessie. Until then, thanks for joining me, chaps who have joined me. Thanks to the YouTube chat. It was great to catch up with a lot of you, and great that a lot of you joined in with that chat. I'll just glad to go to the mast on Winter Hill. Oh, okay. I'll check that out too, LaShark. And I'll be seeing you all very soon. Thank you.